You're good.
I don't know if I even standing in the camera or not.
You're not.
Tell me where. All right, am I in it now?
Your head is.
Back up.
You're not going to get in it.
Okay.
Because now you're going down.
All right.
We've got it zoomed in back there.
All right.
I thought you were real good.
What? What I was going to talk about. Good afternoon. This is Mark from Cedar Creek Bottoms with another fireside chat. Hope everyone's doing okay today. Some very beautiful weather here in Alabama this week. We had a little rain come through Tuesday night and Wednesday. Helped get the clover, wheat and oats up. And, I had to help the hunting club get all the stuff up there. Got the camera staring at that hole down there again where I seen that one back a few weeks ago. Been real quiet here at the house. Been real quiet the last couple of weeks. In fact, it seemed like after I seen him that the activity started going downhill quick. Now some of that could be they're moved off trying to catch the deer somewhere else because I hadn't had the deer coming in like I had. Now my neighbor said he's seen 5 or 6 deer this morning, so the deer may be moving back in. We'll see. But anyway, what I was going to talk about real quick is paranormal and Bigfoot. I know this is a subject some folks get kind of disturbed with. I'm going to go ahead and say that when I started researching Bigfoot, I did start noticing other things that may be contributed to paranormal. 2013, when I divorced, I moved into another home that I rented. I was still active Bigfoot researching at that time, going up on Creepy Mountain, going to some other places, getting with people, going listening and going to new locations. And that house now, it may be just coincidence, but that house I believe we were living in had something going on in it. The shadow figures a couple of times, stuff getting moved around, just hearing strange noises at night. I don't know. When I was living in my first house that I built, wasn't having them issues. So even though I had the Bigfoot coming to my property, I didn't have the other stuff happening with it that I know of. So since then, I've moved to 2 different places. Went and lived in the church parsonage that we definitely know had something in it, and then we bought this property, and definitely there's something here besides Bigfoot coming in sometimes. There's some stuff that happens in the house. We've caught, excuse me, we've caught, stuff out of the corner of our eye in the house. We smell cigarette smoke sometimes. None of us smoke. We don't have nobody that comes in our house and smokes. But we get a faint cigarette smell in one of the bathrooms. Now it could have been where it's got up in the insulation and from where whoever lived years ago did smoke, and it just on certain days it may just come out. I don't know. I really need to get up in the attic and get in that area and see if I smell smoke there and rip that mess out and put some new in. That is something I need to check on this winter when I can get in the attic and not faint from falling out from heat exhaustion up there. But I do want to talk about that is do when you start becoming a researcher, no matter what you're researching, if you're researching paranormal or the cryptids or the UFOs or any other thing, mysteries, do you start having other activity happen? I was hoping to have Adam on here this week to talk a little bit about when me and him went down to Opelika, Alabama, with a group of ghost hunters that wanted us to come down there and see if they had Bigfoot on the property that they were ghost hunting on. Found out they did have some Bigfoot there, but boy, they had some paranormal going on. Me and him were about ready to pack up and leave. Um, her name was Faith Steffen, and she has Alabama Ghost Hunters, I think. I had to, don't quote me on that. She's based out of Opelika. Her and her group, very, very nice group of people. And that was a question that me and her and Adam and some of the other people that were there at night were discussing. It seems like when we get to investigating things or researching, which I guess you call me a researcher and investigator in some way, especially back then I was more of an investigator. But when you start taking sightings reports from people about Bigfoot, also you find out a lot of them has had paranormal stuff happen. Or if they've had paranormal, they end up seeing a cryptid. Or they've had UFO sightings. So I don't know. Um, something to really think about. Something to really think about. Something I don't have no answers for, but definitely something to talk about. I think a lot of people in the cryptid world and the paranormal world are starting to realize that these two are tied together somehow or another. We do live in a spiritual world, um, and we just don't know. We don't know everything. A lot of stuff I don't think we're ever going to know, because I don't think it's meant for us to know. I know I was asked a question one time, and it may have been Faith that asked me that question, or one of the other ladies in that group. Had I had prior paranormal stuff to see in Bigfoot? That question was yes. When I was 9 or 10 years old, when I was, of course, living with my mother and father. We lived in a home that was built in 1923. Uh, Several people had lived in it before my parents bought it in the 50s. My mother's mother, my grandmother, passed away in that house. She came to live with my mom and dad before I was born. She passed away in 1963, right after John F. Kennedy got assassinated. But when I was, and no, I don't think it's her that was, that's in that house. One night, I woke up for some reason, and my bedroom had two doors. One that went into the living room, one that went into the bathroom. And if you know how some of the older houses were built, a lot of the bedrooms used to have two doors, And for some reason, I woke up at night, and I just happened to look toward the door that goes into the living room, and I could see a face on that door. Now, this face was white with a black looking beard and black hair and black eyes. Of course, me being at that age, I jerked the covers over my head and went to praying to Jesus that it leave. A few minutes later, I looked back and it was gone. No, I wasn't dreaming. No, I wasn't seeing things, because I woke up out of a dead sleep and looked straight at it, and it was looking straight at me. Just a head, a white face with a black beard, black hair, long black hair, and black eyes. Like I said, when I pulled the covers over my head and went to praying to Jesus about it, it disappeared. The other time, I was on up maybe 15, 16 years old. Of course, I grew up in a house. My parents didn't run air conditioner unless it just got downright hot. I mean, it'd have to be up in the hundreds, around 100 for Daddy to turn on. And we had one big old unit that sit in the dining room, kind of middle of the house. And my dad was one of those type, like most of them that generation. When you went to bed, everything got shut off. That means heaters, air conditioners, lights, whole 9 yards. So, we slept with the windows up a lot. Sometimes I'd run a fan, sometimes I wouldn't. My head of my bed was up against two windows. My bedroom was probably 8 foot off the ground where my windows were. I remember one night laying in our bed and I hear this heavy breathing right next to my head. This, I call it the Darth Vader sound. Um, just went on for maybe 15, 20 seconds. I just laid there motionless, just listening to it. Then I actually heard it walk off. Since then, I've talked to several people, and they think that was probably a Bigfoot. May have been. I have no idea. Of course, a few other things over the years has happened. And I know y'all going, what's this doing with Bigfoot? But I'm trying to tell you, I think this stuff is connected. If you don't believe that, that's fine. And like I say, everybody's got their own opinions, what everything is. Not going to knock your opinions. I don't want you to knock mine. Like I've told you before, we can all be different, but still get along and love each other and help each other. Because I might tell you something that may click in your head, and you might tell me something that click in my head. And I wish the cryptid and the paranormal groups would talk more and get along instead of having agendas. I've been through one agenda before in my life with several researchers, and don't want to do that again. Skip on up to when I'm a young man, probably 21, 22 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. The company, the marble quarries that I worked for back then, had hunting property that they used to let us hunt on. One of them happened to be an old plantation. It was established in the 1840s. Um, there used to be a plantation house there. A guy bought that house and moved it. I actually moved a plantation house. He moved it 4 miles away. There was, of course, slave houses still on this property. Little one-room shacks. 3 or 4 of them dotted the property. A couple of rock barns is sharp. One of the rock barns is still there. In fact, there's a trough in there that somebody took a log and made a trough. And when I went to talking to the guy that was overseeing the property, he said that trough was there when he was a little kid. He was like 80 years old. This would have been in the 90s. So he pretty sure that trough was probably, put in there. Because you could tell it was homed out. And what I mean by that, they used to have an axe that would chip away. It kind of built like a mattock, kind of. And they would, kind of like the same way, they would build canoes and stuff, pretty sharp, pretty sharp. I think that thing's still there. I tried to get the Sylacauga Historical Society to go talk to the quarry and get that thing out of there and go put it somewhere, where it'd be. But I don't know if that ever happened or not. Hunting that property, though, there was 3 or 4 incidences that happened. One time with another fellow with me. Twice, excuse me. I took that back, twice. This is all before Bigfoot. They didn't really realize until 2007 that we really had Bigfoot. I went down there one evening to hunt that property. There was a guy farming the property. He had a big corn patch, about 20 acres. There's a big pretty hillside right next to the corn patch. I parked out by the highway. Walked along the corn patch, went up on the side of this hill. The hill was tore up with deer sign, rubs everywhere, scrapes. Uh, I really hunted that section there for a good while. Nobody else hunted right there for some reason on that property, but I did. And in fact, took several deer from that area. But I was sitting up there one evening. Of course, I could see the highway from where I sit. The highway was a quarter of a mile away, maybe something of that nature. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I hear somebody, Mark, Mark, just as clear as a bell. I looked toward the highway, toward where my truck's at. Don't see nobody. Go scratching my head a little bit. So, of course, back then it's for cell phones. So I get up. I'm thinking something's wrong. Somebody's looking for me. Something's done happened. So I holler back. I said, "Hey, I'm over here." Nobody answers. Now I can see my truck. I can see the highway, and I cannot see another vehicle nowhere around. I got a hold because I'm up on top of the hill, so I can see this whole area. I don't see no vehicles pulled off nowhere. I don't see nobody. I scratch my head a little bit. Well, of course, that gets me uneasy because I'm thinking something's happened somewhere. So I go to walking toward my truck. I get up to my truck, look around, don't see nobody nowhere, ain't heard nothing. So I just scratch my head on this. Get home, ask my dad, did they come looking for me? And he said no. Asked my brother-in-law, he said no, because they knew where I was at. Got back to the quarry next day. I thought maybe one of the guys, that lived down in that neck of the woods, seen my truck, stopped and hollered at me. Ain't nobody said nothing. So I'm wondering, I said, somebody pulling my leg or what? So I went on and didn't pay it no attention. Fast forward about another year, me and my buddy Larry down there coon hunting. We're sitting over there. There's a big creek in there, Cedar Creek, where this name comes from, Cedar Creek Bottoms. We're sitting over there in this big bottom, big pasture land. Same farmer got it. He got cows on one side of the road, the other side, plants and corn and stuff like that. I know the guy real well. In fact, I called him, asked him, was he looking for me? He said, no. So, um, but go to that night, me and Larry, they turned our dogs out on Cedar Creek. We were sitting there, ain't heard the dogs, nothing. Done got to be 15, 20, 30 minutes. And I happened to look up the creek, and I see a light coming. And I tell Larry, I said, somebody's coming down the creek. Which was kind of odd, because from the direction they was coming from was a big swamp. There's old pasture land around it, and most of it was so thick woods, but you could see it's light, and it looked just like a flashlight, because you could see where they shine over here, they shine over there. He kept getting closer. It kept getting closer. And I said, Larry, do we need to say something to them? That way they know we're here. Well, about that time, here come our dogs. And they sound like a herd of elephants coming through the woods. And we're seeing this light. Of course, it scares the devil out of me and Larry. Because if you were standing there, you'd have to see what I'm saying. All of a sudden, the dogs just come crashing in toward us, and we're looking at a light. And of course, because we're already paying attention to this light. Of course, we both pulled our pistols. We didn't know what was happening for a minute. I did not know what was coming out of the woods on top of us. Of course, we both pulled our pistols. Then we seen the dogs. But here's the thing, the light just disappeared. Just like that. Dogs wasn't acting funny. It's odd. This is weird. This is weird. So I hollered out 2 or 3 times. Nobody answers. That's what I tell Larry. Well, either somebody's fooling with us. They wasn't supposed to be in here. And when they heard us with the dogs, they turned the light off. Didn't think much else about it. Left. Another month later, back in the same area, there's another hillside that's behind us. We're out in the middle of the pasture. Creek's over here on the left side. There's a big hillside to the right of us in there, or kind of behind us. Of course, we're in the middle of winter, so all the leaves are off. We standing there and we turn the dogs loose. Dogs go down there and find a strike. They're going up the creek toward that swamp, which that's about typically what they're doing. And there it says, somebody's over on that hill. I said, what are you talking about? He says, that light up there on that hill. So I turned and looked, and sure enough, this didn't look like no flashlight. This was a big ball. It looked like a basketball going across the top of that hill. And you could see it weaving in and out of the trees, going all the way across the top of that hill. And we watched this thing go a whole length of that hill and just disappear. And I looked at him. I said, I don't think this is people. I said, this is something else. He said, I'm going to agree with you. He said, this is weird. So this property, um, you know, we done seen lights twice on it. I've done had my name called on this property. Unless there's somebody new might ever move what I was doing. And I don't think they did, because I didn't tell everybody every time I was doing something. It's just like when I'd go to the hunting club to do my Bigfoot research, everybody didn't know it. I mean, my wife knew it. Me and Kieth would know it. I didn't tell everybody else I was going up there. That's one thing I done was not to tell people when I was going. That way I wouldn't have people trying to hoax me. So I just think that old plantation had something going on it. I just do. And I talked to a guy who happened to live in that old plantation house way years before, and he said that they would hear chains rattling below the house. Well, come to find out, there was an old settler down in there, and I hate to say it, it had shackles on the wall. When they moved that house, they filled in that cellar, but it had shackles in it. Hate that time period, you know, but it is what it is. Ain't nothing we can do about it now. But uh, so you know, uh, I think there was something to that problem. Uh, Something I want y'all to think about is all this connected. And if you don't believe it is, that's fine. When me and Faith and Adam and some of her other people, her group, talked about it, and this was like back in 2009, 10, somewhere when me and Adam visited her group. We had stuff happening all night long down there. It just blowed my mind. First time I'd seen what they called a banshee. That's the black. Uh, Me and Adam both seen it. Adam seen it before I did. Uh, we were almost ready to pack up and leave when we seen that. Uh, I'm kind of glad that we stayed with it. We ended up did have some booger activity later in the night, but we had a lot of paranormal too. If you're ever down in Opelika, Alabama, uh, name of the plantation is Spring Villa. The city of Opelika owns it. It's right off 280. Go check it out. Read all about it. This is a Gothic type house, plantation house. It's weird looking. When you pull up on the place, you get vibes. I mean, I carried Rebecca down there one time. She said, "Lord, this place is woo, it's strong. It's strong." Uh, Faith and them got a lot of audio and a lot of different things. First time I've ever seen the ghost box, they used it that night. I didn't like that thing. I'll tell you that right off bat. Didn't care nothing for that. So, all right, one other thing I'm gonna do before I get off here, because it can be dark. I'm gonna play you audio. I hope it does well. Uh, this belongs to Kieth Tyler. He caught this off the club. Me and him and Larry up there coon hunting one night. We're looking for dogs. He caught this with his sound dish. It had a little recorder on it. He went up on top of a ridge, was listening for the dogs, and caught this. I'm gonna let Keith tell you more about it when I get him back on video. We did send it to somebody to analyze it. In fact, our friend Pat done it, Pat Rance. They definitely say it's Bigfoot chatter. So I'm gonna let you listen to it. But it ain't real long. I'm gonna let it play over 3 or 4 times. It's on my car, so it's on my CD player in my car. I got to figure out how to download it on my computer where I get it, cut out some of the sound. I'm fixing to play it for you. I'll let it play over 3 or 4 times, and I'll shut it back off. So I hope y'all enjoy this for a minute. All right. Let's see. All right, here it goes, people. All right, I played it 3 times for you. It's about 18 seconds. Keith caught that night. In fact, he hollered at me on the radio, said, told me where he was at. He said, "Get over here." And so, time I got over it, done quit all its talking. He got that recording. We didn't get no more of that. Now, Adam's got some of it similar. Uh, he's got some of it. Of course, Adam's got a lot of good recordings. But this right here, this audio belongs to Kieth Tyler. So he did give me permission to use it. But anybody else doesn't have permission to use it without talking to him or me. Go through one of us. It's just for y'all to hear. It's something that we captured. Uh, uh, Hopefully, I can get him on video in the next week or so and let him tell you more about it. Also, he can show you what he caught it on. It was very interesting. Now, we already knew about Bigfoot, so we are, like I told you before, me and him and Larry a lot of times combined both coon hunting with research. Got some good stuff out of it. Boy, if me and him had thermals back in and had some other stuff, but if we'd had some good evidence. We'd have had some stuff, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Also, like for y'all to remember Chris Reinhardt will discover Sasquatch. Uh, Remember him in y'all's prayers. He gets back online, y'all support him. He's having some trouble. I sure hate that. Also, keep Jonathan Odom in your prayers. His father passed away this week, so y'all keep him in your prayers. Also, give both of them check them out. They check out Chris on his Discover Sasquatch, and check out Jonathan Odom, and also the Beast guys, Larry, Mr. Mark, and Spencer. They always have some good content going, and enjoy their channel. Well, I'm gonna get off here because it's just about dark. I know y'all can't even see the woods anymore down there, but I had it set up just in case old big boy popped his head up again. You never know. But it's going to be completely dark on me. Hope you enjoyed the audio. We will be talking about it some more. Um, like I said, last few weeks have been busy with fall festivals and farm days, and I know a lot of people's been busy too with farm festivals and all going on, football games. It's that time of year. But I enjoyed all the comments. I appreciate all my older subscribers. I appreciate my new subscribers. I appreciate the comments. Uh, Give us a like, a subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification button. Like I said, we want this channel to grow. If you don't like what I'm doing, let me know. Tell me to change it up or something. I know this is twice I'm not in the video. I know a lot of people say you need to be in the video. But anyway, well, listen, I'm going to get off here. I hope y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. Love one another. Get along. Just help each other. We need it in this world right now. And y'all have a good one. This is Mark from Cedar Creek Bottoms, Farmstead Life, with Lord have mercy, my neighbor just let loose. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.